Hello, my name is Robert Hollis. I want to thank you very much for tuning into my Periscope. Thank you so much for scrolling up and scrolling sideways and sharing it with all your followers. I really, really appreciate that. And thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the hearts. We'll probably go over 800,000 hearts today. So going for that $1 million mark, pretty excited. So my name is Robert Hollis, and I used to be an auto mechanic until I met my mentors, which are now billionaires. And since then, I've been able to make over $46 million. I've helped 45 people make over $1 million a year. Or is it 46 now? I think it's 46. Yeah, Armand Peugeot, I think, was number 46. I keep getting messed up. And bestseller of the book, How Is That Working? We got a great surprise. Lori did some incredible things for me, and we'll share those on another Periscope. But one of the things I want each and every one of you to know is the whole story today. You can go to lifemechanic.com. Make sure that you subscribe, put in your name and your email address. And what you can do is you actually can click on the blog portion of it and see all the other shows that I've done. I know for a fact they will help you without a shadow of a doubt. So here's the topic for today. The topic for today is who inspires you. Now, as I'm doing my Periscope, of course, I'm focused on the camera, so I don't get to see a lot of the stuff that are on. Thanks again very much for the hearts I got. I love it. But one of the things I want you to each and do is put up people's names that inspire you. All right. And I'm going to share that in a moment. Then I'm going to ask you in the middle part of the Periscope another very, very, very important question. Super important question. Okay. So where did this topic come from? This topic comes from, and if you know my personal story, is that, I grew up in my life, and guess what? There was a few I tell people all the time, you're either motivated each and every day by someone or something that inspires you, or desperation. So it's either inspiration or desperation. I actually got into a situation where I was so desperate that it made me open-minded. And again, by surrendering and asking for help, you know what? Someone gave me a call. I was open-minded. And then I was able to go out there and learn from my mentor, Bill Gould, and change my life. Made $258,000 my first year with him, I think at the age of 28 or 29. And then made over $1 million. Yeah. So by the age of 30, I made 550 some thousand, or I don't remember the number now. I haven't said them in a while. It's 258, 520,000 my second year, 785,000 my third. So made over $1 million by the age of 30. And the reason that I say this is not to impress you at all, to impress upon you that I've met a lot of successful people in my life. And one of the unique things about these individuals, from Tony Robbins, that was inspired by Jim Rohn, me personally, that was inspired by my mentor. You look at these people that are inspired, and there's two things that clicked. One is they seen someone doing something above average. I'll say that again. Very, very important. Is they seen someone that did something above average. Here's the second one. When they looked at that person, they got inspired to say, you know what? If they did it, I can do it. Now, you can be inspired by people like Susan Boyle, you know what I mean, on, I think that was American Got Talent or whatever it was with Simon, I don't remember it, but we can be inspired by people, and that's awesome. But we also need to be inspired in following people that are doing what we want to do. Yeah, see? So I'll give you a neat point. Because law of attraction, I'm looking for things to inspire me. I'm looking for people to inspire me. I'm looking for stories to inspire me. And so if you're constantly on a day-to-day basis looking for stories that inspire you, looking for success stories that inspire you, looking for all this stuff that inspires you, then are you going to stay in an inspired mode? And I got to thinking about that the other day because I know that people constantly come to me and they say, well, I'm stuck again, or I'm not motivated and I don't know how to get excited. And guess what? You got to be inspired by something or someone. I've heard this over and over again. People don't work for money. A lot of people get confused by that. Is people are not really money motivated. If they were money motivated, then everyone that watches this Periscope would be financially done. See, people are motivated by a cause. People are motivated by something. You know, when you see even tragedy, which is negative things, that inspires people to do something. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But you got to find something that really inspires you. The reason that I'm bringing this up, and some of you, I know I'm going to lose you here, and that's okay. God created us all unique. But I grew up in mixed martial arts. My sons grew up in mixed martial arts. They're black belts. You know what I mean? I was a black belt. So I was really motivated in martial arts. And because that, I like watching boxing. I love watching mixed martial arts. And the reason I always was drawn to those is, again, I know my abandonment issues. See, there was things that I was working through in my younger years that virtually anyone that got close to me was going to abandon me anyway. So why in the heck would I want to get in a team sport? I'd want to get into individual sports. So I always seem to excel on things like darts, you know, playing darts or bowling or, you know, individual bowling or playing pool. Everything that I gravitated toward or attracted was individual sports. You know, things where I could, you know, head on, one-on-one, go with somebody. You see what I mean? And so, of course, a lot of you may have heard this or might not even have heard of it. But, you know, there's been this girl that's, you know, come on. Her name is Ronda Rousey. And she came on the scene a long time ago her mom was a very competitive, and I believe a medal winner in judo. And what ended up happening is Ronda Rousey lost her father at a really young age. And so her mom motivated her by doing judo and taught her judo. And she got good enough to get a bronze medal for the United States. And all of a sudden she gets into the MMA, and virtually everyone that she goes after, she like destroys. I mean, you know, and so I know that some of you don't like violence because of your personality, and that's fine. Just hear me out. But this girl is basically defended her world championship three times in the last year. And, you know, she's one of the most dominant fighters out there. She not only won Fighter of the Year, which was one of the first times that a mixed martial artist has ever been featured as the Fighter of the Year. It's normally a boxer. You know, Floyd Mayweather's been on there a number of times. So now all of a sudden, she also gets on the cover of Ring magazine. And I'm telling you, everybody was upset about this. You know, it's like, she's not a boxer. She doesn't deserve to be on the Ring magazine. So anyway, all these people that she's fighting, she goes up against this girl named Holly Holm. Now, some of you are going to love this story because whether you like Ronda Rousey or not, Holly Holm is you know, you got your nicknames. So it's Rowdy. Think about this. Rowdy Ronda Rouser. You know, Rowdy. So you get all these people that the Destroyer, the Warrior, you know, you got all these, you know, the Intimidator, you know, Money Mayweather. They got all these nicknames, right? Iron Mike Tyson, you know what I mean? Holly Holm is the preacher's daughter. Holly, the preacher's daughter, you know what I mean? So anyway, this girl at the age of 19, gets into boxing. She learns boxing and kickboxing. And if you guys search her name and go on Wikipedia, the stuff this girl has done. 14 years, I think she's 34 years of age, but she's got like world championships in multiple different. They basically say that she's the best woman boxer or best accomplished woman boxer of all time. And so she's out there. I didn't even know who she was. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, long story short, she goes up to fight against Ronda Rousey. Listen to these numbers. Staggering numbers. She's an 800% underdog. 800 points underdog. Ronda Rousey, 1,200, I think it was it was 1,200, of a favorite. 1,200 point favorite to go in there. Holly Holm doesn't have a shot, according to everyone, including Dana White, the owner of mixed martial arts, right? So UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championships. Even he said this wasn't a good fight, but there was no one else for her to fight. Someone forgot to tell this girl, Holly Holm, for 14 years of practicing and practicing and practicing. Someone forgot to tell her that she was an underdog. And I'm going to put a link underneath this video, when I post it on my blog. But Scott Kloster got to see, the interviews with her. And they asked her how hard it was. And she said, I used to do so bad in the gym, I'd go out in the parking lot and cry. I'd get in my car and I would cry. And she said, but if I didn't get any better, this girl was going to beat me. So I practice and I practice and I practice and I practice. And so for all of a sudden, for her to go into this match and just dominated her, including knocked her out. And if you know anything, ladies and gentlemen, about boxing or mixed martial arts, when the judges at the end announce who wins, you know what I mean? Here's the words you want to hear. You don't, if you're competing, you don't want to hear, and still world champion. You want to hear these words as far as inspiration. In the new world champion, Holly Holm. And so I just wanted to share that inspiration, and I just realized yesterday that I look for story after story after story after story after story. Yesterday was a NASCAR race. It was rained out in Phoenix, but they finally got a few laps in. And now there's 4 drivers going down to the World Championship. I love racing. That happens next weekend in Homestead, Miami. And guess what? Jeff Gordon, is the only driver left in the Hendricks Motorsport camp. You know what I mean? He's retiring this year. And he's done all this incredible stuff for NASCAR. And Jeff Gordon gets to go into Homestead. One race. He's just got to finish before the other 3. And this guy, Jeff Gordon, is going to win his 5th world championship. So, but there's other stories in there. I'm going to give you just a couple more, but I want you to get the attitude that I look for stories, and I love stories sell, facts tell. And I look for stories that inspire me. Well, there's another guy named, Truex Jr. You know what I mean? And Truex Jr., I mean, get this, is a Denver mattress company. He's got one sponsor. His car's usually black with red numbers on it. So his sponsors Furniture Roll and Denver Mattress Company. I mean, he has no reason being in these multi-million, multi-billion dollar groups that have 3 and 4 and 5 different cars that they race, millions of dollars in sponsorship, all these cars, all these resources. They all are usually right in Charlotte. You know what I mean? They're all around each other. And this guy, Martin Truex Jr., that's got one car, one sponsor, a guy that owns Denver Mattress Company and a Furniture Roll, but he loves NASCAR. So he's sponsoring this kid, and now he gets the race. I mean, none of the Roger Penske's cars made it this year, so Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski, they got terminated yesterday, and you could see my excitement. Well, what's another one? Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch right now. You know, this kid got in a wreck at the beginning of the NASCAR deal, ran into a wall, totally destroyed his leg and one of his ankles. He missed 11 races. 11 races. So he came back and scored enough points in the rest of the season to get into that. Now, here's the point that I want to make to each and every one of you. If you don't have stories, inspirational stories that you can share every day to people that have never heard them, are you really inspired? Are you really inspired? See, because if you're not inspired and you're not telling other people stories that are excited, then how do you become excited? Hello? Now me, regardless of the company that I'm in, regardless of what I'm doing, I'm telling people exciting, inspirational stories of people that had nothing, were broke, so broke they couldn't pay attention, and all of a sudden they're successful. You should see what they're doing now. They're traveling the world. They're mentoring and teaching other people. They're giving money to charity. When you guys go to conventions, if you've ever gone to conventions, you see what I mean? It's the people that walk the stage. It's their stories. So if you hear me get excited, you know what I mean? I get more excited about telling my son's story, Robert Hollis Jr. You know, this guy's been working with me for 10 years. He hasn't had a job in 10 years. You know, so my son, 33 years old, probably has easily gone way over $1 million in commissions. See, that is exciting to me. I don't know about anyone that you know that's 33 years of age that doesn't have to work and can get up when they want to. Well, now that he's got Ryder, my grandson, another one on the way. But guess what? Incredible story, right? And then I got Matthew. You know, Matthew and Hannah Ebert used to be known as Hannah Ebert. So at 17 years of age, she goes out there and she's introverted. She's not a social butterfly. And she goes out there and uses the internet and makes over $4,500 her very first month. And then she goes out there and does it. Matthew goes out and does exactly the same thing. Then they start, you know, talking over the internet. They're both young. She's, you know, he's 17. At that time, he was 20. And they talk over the internet, and now they're married. So now Hannah Ebert is Hannah Hollis. Now I got two people under the age of 23 that are husband and wife. They don't need a job. They make over $80,000 a year with unlimited, listen to me, unlimited potential to make money, as much money as they want to, from anywhere in the world that just has Wi-Fi, internet access. So if you can't get excited about stories, then you got a problem. You see what I mean? Now, let me talk about two other things, you know, and all the people that I see on here, you know, from Melody, you know what I mean, to Scott, to Doug Harkins. I mean, Doug Harkins, you know, some of the stuff that he just said recently, you know, Doug Harkins making money, man, really good money on a monthly basis. To hear what his residual checks are. This guy's been hanging around forever. You know, and then I Mary Allen, you know, hitting Director One. And so I'm inspired by other people's story. When William O'Toole, you know, told me that he made enough money to pay his bills, so he didn't have to borrow money anymore. See, so first I want to share the whole point is this one. Listen, if I ask you who inspires you, and I seen some of them going across, but I didn't want to be distracted, okay? If your mom inspires you, or your father inspires you, or a sibling inspires you, totally different inspiration. You know what I mean? Totally different. See, there's inspiration from people that, wow, I want to be a parent like my parents, or I'd like to be like my brother, or, you know, that's different, you know, so you're going to have different role models. That's the second question. You're going to have different role models in different areas of your life. You're going to have different role models in different areas of your life. So when Tony Robbins first heard of Jim Rohn, then guess what? He seeked him out. Did you hear me? He seeked him out. Guess how many other mentors Jim Rohn had in his first 10 years? 0. When Tony Robbins seen Jim Rohn, that's what I want to do. I want to be a person on stage, traveling the world, inspiring and bringing people's awareness level up. You see what I mean? I want to be like Jim Rohn. And so what he did is he focused and learned everything that Jim Rohn did. He got involved virtually in front of him every weekend. He focused on saying, here's a role model and a person that I want to be. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And now Tony Robbins is worth over $500 million. So there's people that inspire us through their stories, and then you got to have a mentor and a role model. A mentor and a role model that you got to say, you know what? I want to be like them. I want to do what they do. So now what you do is you just mirror and match what they do. So, you hear people that are professional and athletes. Now what you do is you just got people that you go out and you say, wow, I got to have people that inspire me. And then I got to have a role model in every area of my life. Now, it doesn't mean that you got to work on all 5 or 7 areas at the same time. But you got to find a mentor or a role model that you can mirror and match, which means you want to do exactly what they're doing every day. Does that make sense to you? And so when people don't have role models, you don't have those pops. See, the pops are very simply this, is if you talk to a lot of successful people, they say that they listen to somebody on audio, or now today you can listen to them on YouTube, or you can read their book, and people go, wow, if they did it, I can do it. If someone was at a seminar, you always hear this, where someone's nudging someone and they're going, listen, if she's doing this, I can do this. I'm going to do what she did. And what I feel that's happening right now throughout the world is I believe that, you can be inspired and you can love a lot of people's mentorship and teaching. You can, have all of this information. I said before, it's like right now we're drowning. Everyone's drowning in information, but they're lacking for wisdom. So my thing was always about, documentation beats conversation. But you want to follow somebody, be mentored by somebody, and you want to ask them what they did. How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? And it's good if you resonate with that person, if you feel like they got similar backgrounds, if you feel like, but you got to have that person in your life. You got to have that person in your life that you go, you know what? I like the way this person does it. I like their delivery. They seem like they got the same background. Maybe they got the same personality traits as you. And what you got to do is you got to have a role model. You got to have a role model. So when you hear about these, and I brought this whole one up today, who inspires you, now I'd like you to type, and a lot of people go role model. So if I was asking you right now, who is the person, and be careful before you type, who is the person that you're mirroring and matching? Who's the role model in success of a person that you're following completely? You're doing what they're doing. You're acting the way they act. I remember when I was young, I used to say the kind of statement all the time, is if I got in a situation, I would say, I wonder what Bill would say. I wonder what Bill would say. On a spiritual level, I see someone put down Jesus. There's a saying out there. What would Jesus do? What would Jesus do now? Because if you don't have someone you're mirror and matching exactly, there's your problem. I hope you guys liked the voice hitting me this morning, because I went, wow, that's what it is. You got people sitting around that are still saying, I talked to some people today, and it was like, I'm building my brand. And I'm going, it's okay to build your brand. But are you building your brand like who? So these incredible women that I was talking to, Jenny and Jackie, their sisters, just incredible people. I mean, just incredible energy from London, UK. And the person that I brought up right away was Oprah. See, if someone said to me, well, I'm building my brand, and you go, okay. And they go, no, I'm mirror and matching. I'm doing exactly what Oprah's doing. Got it. Got it. How many people have you got it right away? Now, if you listen to someone young, and I don't want to keep beating the drum here, but I think you guys will get it. Can I get some hearts here? So I started out by talking about a boxing match, right? And mixed martial arts. You talk to Ronda Rousey. You talk to Holly Holm. You talk to a professional a NASCAR driver. They have a role model. They have someone that not only inspired them, but they got a role model that they reach out to, that mentors them, that they talk to, that they build confidence in. They want to be like them. Jeff Gordon, everyone knew this. Jeff Gordon came in, he says, I want to be just like Dale Earnhardt. I want to be just like Dale Earnhardt. And now you got these young people that are coming in, and they're saying, I want to be just like Jeff Gordon. I want to be just like Jimmy Johnson. You see what I mean? See, you got to have someone that you mirror and match off of. Did that help? I hope that it did. And guess what? You got to find some people that can help you around that. Now, one more point I wanted to bring up here. Here's something that I want to just close out this with. We're already 30 minutes in, but it's really important. Telling my story, when I met Bill, and I seen he was making $62,000 a month, here's an important point that I think that I'm not going to assume that you think. Because if you assume, you know what happens, right? You split that word up. And anyway, here's the point. I remember saying when I seen my mentor make $62,000 a month, this is what I said to myself. I don't know how long it will take me to be like him. I don't know if I got that much talent. I don't know how hard he studied. I don't know if I have that work ethic. See, I had all the stuff that I know that a lot of you say. I don't know if I could be that excited. I don't know if I could be that confident. I don't know if I look that good. I don't know if I sound that good. But here's the thing I want you guys each to say, because this should help you. I said, if I do exactly what he does and work as hard as I can every day and make myself 1% better every day, I bet you I can make 10% of what he makes. Now, you work out your percentage. So just say that you are a person like me. Say that you wanted me to be your role model. You want me to be your mentor. Maybe I inspire you. Can you at least try to do 10% of what I do? See, because if you do 10% of what I do, that's $20,000 a month. Did that hit? So maybe you don't have to do as many periscopes as I do. Maybe you don't have to have as many followers as I do. Maybe you don't have to have the work ethic I do. But do your best and follow everything I do. And then what if you did 10%? What if you did 5%? Would $10,000 a month right now help you? I've never said this before. What if you did half of that? What if you did 2.5%? You did 2.5% of what Robert Hollis does every day, and you do it consistently. You do it every day. You get just 1% better. 3 years are going to go by anyway. So everyone's going to say, wow, Holly Holm, world champion at UFC, 14 years. See, 14 years she's been working at it. Robert Hollis has been working at this profession for 28 years. Might be 29 now. My point being is you just get better each and every day. And here's what's really going to be crazy. Don't you realize that 2 years is going to go by anyway? 5 years is going to go by anyway. 10 years is going to go by anyway. 14 years is going to go by anyway. It's going to go by anyway. So if you could find someone to lock into, mirror and match them, and get 2.5% of what I make on a monthly basis, that's $60,000 a year. $60,000 a year. Every one of you could use an extra $60,000 a year. So I want you to think about it. I'm glad that some of the people were honest when I said, who's the role model that you're following and doing what they're doing? Some of you know this, and just a quick plug, I wanted to learn how to blog. I wanted to learn how to do so I scanned everybody out there, hey Vinny, and I scanned everybody out there, and I related and like Ray and Jessica Higdon. And when I see what Ray and Jessica do every day, you guys follow some of the people that could inspire you, and look at the amount of blog posts, how many videos they put together, how much hours of training that they got. And see, I believe that's where people go, oh, that's too overwhelming. But if Ray and Jessica are making 4 or 6 million, whatever, let's take it on the low level. If they're making $4 million a year, can Robert Hollis do his best to try to get 10% of that? So my first year building a blog, lifemechanic.com, I just make 400 grand. And I just make 400,000, that, 35 or 32,000 a month. It's like, hey. So I know my voice. Thank you, Vinny. And I know my voice in your voice. Every one of you got a segment of people, a percentage of people that, wow. There's millions of people that would follow your voice if you would just step out and mirror match someone to the best of your ability. So there's the Periscope. I hope each and every one of you loved it. Who inspires you is cool. Who inspires you on a day-to-day basis? You become what you hang around. You'll start doing like I'm doing, where I'm just not even paying attention. And then a story inspires me, and then a story inspires me, and then a story inspires me. And I'm always attracting stories that inspire me. And then you got the people that are role models. You got to have a role model. And I just love, again, that everyone was honest and saying, man, first of all, I don't know who my role model is, and I'm not doing what they do every day. Well, if you want to get what they got, now you guys are starting to understand maybe in this Periscope why people that are successful are dumbfounded by people who are not. So Tony Robbins, with all this success, writes a new book. They're interviewing him. And they say to him, Tony Robbins, if you could say anything to anyone, give us one of your keys to success. Just give us one. And he goes back, whoop, and says, you know what? Here's the key to success. You got to find someone that's a role model. For me, it was Jim Rohn. And I found this man, and I went to everything that he did. I bought everything that he did. He inspired me. He motivated me. He was my role model. He was my mentor. I built a relationship with him. That's what you got to do. So Tony Robbins, if you could say anything, what would you say? Find a role model. So if you talk to Oprah Winfrey, if you talk to most of the successful people on the planet, they found someone that inspired them, someone they could look at as a role model. They seeked them out, did everything, and you can do this stuff virtual. Some people would take it the next step and say, I want to meet that person. So maybe that's a good question you should be asking your team. Maybe that's a great question, or you could just send them this Periscope, once it's up on my blog, lifemechanic.com, and say, wow, who are you following exactly? Because the majority of the people that I know right now are following like maybe 10,000 people. And they're trying to do a lot of stuff not very good. All right. So take care. God bless. I hope each and every one of you have a great day. Hope to see you on the Periscope tomorrow. Thank you for all the hearts. I love and appreciate you guys, and talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.